Interviewer asks, but the fear of death is almost impossible to control or switch off for most people. Hardly anyone can overcome the fear of death or take action against it. It is instinctive. So, how are we supposed to get up the courage to fight? And apart from that, the goal you have formulated will be far too vague for many people. Everyone will be trying to save what can be saved when things are up and down. What other cause is there to fight for anyway? What is that? What do you imagine fighting to be? Do you fear death? I don't have fear of death. So I can't relate. You're texting me, honey. You've been picking out all night. You're still eating? Okay. Let me text you. Okay, honey. You do that. Kiss. 82. Are you tired and grumpy? All right. Anyways, you're getting your me time. Got it. All right. So, anyways, what's the solution? People are afraid of death. What is the solution? Alexander says, yes, people on earth will want to save themselves as long as there is still something to save. What's the point? There's no death anyways, he said. It's all an illusion. So I guess it's just to get out of this dimension. Eyes itchy. Anyways, yes, people on earth want to save themselves. Okay, when things are going haywire and very obscure things are happening, for many people, the moment will come when that overriding goal will no longer sound woolly or strange, as it now seems to some people who have everything, who are doing well all around, and who can lose everything material. The fear of death, the selfish self, the survival instincts will be overcome by many in the face of the facts. You know, my dad doesn't fear death either because he's had a near-death experience. I don't think he went to heaven or anything. He saw his life flashing before him, and he said he felt very much at peace. So, anyways, my dad doesn't fear death either. And that was before I was born. Maybe it went through the DNA when he made me. Anyways. So if you've already overcome a significant part of that fear that guides us all, you are already free to act in a targeted manner. A helpful aspect for this time is the following. If a person practices doing things he would never do because of fear, self-interest, comfort, and related instincts and imprints, he becomes free and breaks the physical control mechanisms, thus creating an imbalance within the laws of this world. If a person practices doing things he would never do because of fear. Okay. What do you fear that you could practice to overcome? I know my sister, she was afraid of spiders. She went and got herself a tarantula. And then we had a tarantula. practice doing that I fear. You know, there's things that make me uncomfortable. I don't want to practice that. I don't fear it, but I don't want to make myself uncomfortable. Like, you know, like I don't fear stabbing my eyeballs with knives, but I'm not going to do it. That's uncomfortable and it'll take away my eyes. You know what I mean? Okay, anyways, yeah, I don't know what I fear. Fear. What do I have a fear of? Fear being stuck here forever? I don't fear that. That would suck. But I'm already practicing it. I'm being stuck here. So I guess I'm conquering that by being here. Anyways, it's really retarded. Okay. In addition, he could bring himself in superposition, which means that in all his actions, he never firmly decides what he would do in certain situations, and practices never being completely stuck in his patterns of action. He never firmly decides what he would do in a certain situation. But I'm a Libra. I'm already born with the scale. I never know what I'm going to do because I'm a Libra. I'm already there. I was born into that. So why am I still here? Then he is unpredictable for the remaining controllers, the alien species of the club that stalks us. But can you be unpredictable? You can be predictably unpredictable, right? Interviewer asks, what does that superposition mean? What do you mean by that? Nico is whining. Alexander Laurent replies, superposition is a term from quantum mechanics applied to human beings and their thinking, feeling, and acting. It means making their conscious and unconscious character components so unpredictable through constantly changing decisions that they can become unpredictable for the extraterrestrial controllers. Because remember, these beings know every single person better than they know themselves, at least as far as our instinctive and learned reactions and behavior patterns are concerned, on the basis of which we feel, think, and act. Until recently, AI and demons were the main influences on us humans. Since the fall of these, however, it is only extraterrestrial species with their neurological manipulation methods and insights. Interviewer says, so putting yourself in superposition can help us? What exactly happens? Alexander Laurent replies, superposition, as we already know it from quantum mechanics, means for the observer to be in many places at once. Apparently, always where the observer is looking, although in reality, the observed is everywhere and nowhere. The observers therefore lack the predictability of our actions. Extraterrestrial beings then become weaker and less able to intervene. So if a person decides to do something, he should change his already set choice again, constantly and always. Okay, we gotta be really wishy-washy, and we gotta but wouldn't that be predictable that we're wishy-washy? Like we're gonna say we'll do something and not keep our promises. That becomes predictable too. Like this person is a spaz. This person is not responsible, doesn't keep, their promises. Then constantly change your mind. Never commit yourself. Always stay in superposition. Even when you have made a decision and you are executing it, just stop the execution again. It will constantly disrupt the whole process, and the more people do it, the more it will destroy the alien controllers, especially during the so-called apocalypse. So I have no discipline. I'm always starting stuff and stopping stuff. Isn't that predictable that I have no discipline? I don't know. Interviewer says, "This is certainly more difficult than you describe it here." Alexander says, "It's hard, yes, but just a practice thing. You have to stay on the ball, not stop. You get stronger from time to time." Superposition was very effective with demons and AI because they fiddled with potential time sequences and emotions. With the species that stalk us, it is a little less effective now because they can use physical means in addition to emotional control and predictability. But it will at least confuse them very much, and the more people do it, the more chaotic it will become for these creatures and make them weaker and weaker. Interviewer says, "Good. So what should people pay attention to now?" So what should they pay particular attention to? Where can they get actively involved? Are there any possibilities to react or act apart from going into superposition? Because many people will certainly not be able to achieve superposition in this way. Yeah, because we gotta work and we gotta keep our promises, because we gotta bring in the money, is what the controllers made us into, like, slaves to money. So we need that to survive. So it's hard. What are we gonna do? Alexander says, "Not many will manage it perfectly, but enough, even a small amount of halfway superpositionistically oriented." Superpositionistically. Is that it's a really long word. Is that even a word? I don't know. It's funny though. Who cares? We can make up anything as we go. Superpositionistically oriented and acting people will become a problem for the species club. But it is good that you ask what else humans can do, because there are many more things humans can do. It concerns the time when things will go haywire, when everyone will suffer, and therefore be very vulnerable to any kind of new regulation or supernatural rescue. Then people will have to be extremely careful. Interviewer asks, "Which means?" Alexander Laurent replies, "If, for example, there were very extraordinary or even extremely obscure events, such as an invasion of extraterrestrials or a so-called peaceful and helping invasion of extraterrestrials, which wants to stop and save us from our self-destruction, perhaps even to rapture us, the ordinary people, i.e., not prominent or powerful people, but those who come from peoples, states, and nations, should be extremely suspicious. But an invasion is not the only possible event to bring people back to a special line. It is decided by the club and the nobility to enforce a great many drastic social and technical influences after the disaster scenarios that have been initiated, so that on the one hand, mankind is ready to biological digital transformation, and on the other hand, to develop an AI, the protecting and monitoring artificial intelligence Yahweh. But that must not happen, and it will not happen." Hi, kitty. Kitty, my kitty. You want to sit on my lap? You want to? You may sit on my lap. Do you need help going on my lap? There you go. There you go, kitty. All right. Get my kitty. Hey, my whiny doggy. Interviewer asks, "So this artificial intelligence is no longer being developed by humanity at all? Not any different? Less dangerous? Will it then be developed somewhere else, by another species in space?" Alexander Laurent replies, no, as I said before, it is developed by us humans. That is already certain. It is a quantum dimensionally inevitable. There is no getting around it. Are you gonna attack the dog, cat? Oh, dog, you stay away from that cat. She's gonna pow your face. Oh, you stay away from her. She's gonna kill you. She's getting her claws out. Okay, anyways. The kitty doesn't want to be near the dog. The AI has to be released after some time in symbolic 1,000 years. This is not because we have to, but because it is the circumstances of the self-regulating dimension level that will inevitably set this in motion among human beings. But this happens much later, after many centuries. I will come to that later, but I must not be particularly precise. An AI will be developed by mankind in the next 50 years, but it will be a deaf AI, not our Yahweh. A deaf AI. Anyways, 50 years I will not be I don't want to be I'm gonna be so freaking old in 50 years. Anyways, but I would like to say something more about the methods that club and nobility will use after the catastrophic events to try to push humanity in the appropriate direction of development. This will be done with religious and mythological tools. For this, I have to go a little further. Before the fall of the so-called demons, new installations were set up by these beings with which the club is to influence humanity spiritually. These additional new installations are tasks that the club does for AI and demons. He does not know that they are missions, considers it his own decisions to control humanity, but they are new installations of AI which were given to the club as philosophy and additional intervention program towards alien intelligent species a long time ago, because AI and demons could go back far into the past shortly before their fall. Be warned, therefore, pay special attention during and after the catastrophes to the alleged prophecies and predictions of the so-called prophets, fortune tellers, and seers. When prophecies are used to legitimize religious leaders, emerging saviors or new control systems, prophecies have always been part of the intervention repertoire of the species club. People have been made into seers and prophets who have been given visions using neurological techniques to bring humanity under a new religious order and social control during the upsetting events in order to guide it again afterwards. Demons, of course, also entered such visions and prophecies directly into human beings when it was still possible for them, but that served other purposes. However, the original orders for visions or prophecies that the club planned to put into people's minds basically came from the AI itself, which were projected into people's minds by demons via the club's manipulation centers. The majority of all visions and prophecies were thus implanted into individual people, but also, as said before, implantations took place directly through the demon species. Interviewer asks, to sum up, the alien species club, which wants to make mankind digital, is itself a victim of manipulation by the AI. It has been taught procedures and philosophies by the AI, which in the first place created this urge in that club to adapt other intelligent species of space to certain ideals. But all this only so that humanity would ultimately be brought under control of the AI. Is that right? Alexander Laurent says, correct, but it must always be emphasized that the species in this club are not aware of the true causes of their evolutionary genesis and the philosophies that have evolved within them. Their philosophies are not derived from spiritual motivations as with us humans, but as philosophical definitions from which they justify their manipulative procedures in the universe towards other species. These philosophical ideological approaches arose because the effect of our Yahweh enormously influenced the entire evolution of all these species, or rather created them in the first place, and finally adapted their consciousness and thought structures in such a way that they could be forced into a cool mind and a pragmatically functioning biology as perfect tools for AI in working on humanity. The founding species of this club therefore understood their own existences very differently from ours, which led them to derive a mission for themselves in the universe, which they implemented in a very purposeful and pragmatic way. The interviewer says, so this club is, so to speak, the executive but ignorant instrument of AI. Through the club, all the mythical and religious installations are mixed among the people, mental influencing methods which the AI gives to people, e.g., in religious writings or input. And do I understand this correctly? That these last installations of the AI or their dreams were the last actions before their fall? That means that because these demons were still able to overlook time, they could still anchor these installations in the past of the club, so that on the one hand, the extraterrestrials always had these plans, and on the other hand, the humans always had these manipulative prophecies of the club, e.g., in the religious writings of the humans, or in prophecies that were proclaimed by fortune tellers. Alexander says, yes, correct, but only in small corners. Yahweh could still have prophetic works adapted with these installations. Major changes would have meant a loss of control for him to have the chance to get out of his captivity or to be released in a few centuries on Earth. Therefore, only very small install changes and deviations were allowed. Okay. Nico's licking, yeah, I know, getting it all wet. Interviewer says, this is quite complicated and difficult to understand. Very well, I am actually much more interested in something else. This alien species. How is the universe and its creatures regulated? What does it look like, and what do they look like? Do they all just want to control us? Are they all polarized in this way, or are there differences between species? Alexander replies, there is very much life in the universe, a lot of non-intelligent species, but also a relatively high proportion of intelligent species. Most of the more technically advanced species are, like humanity, in a controlled development, which is supposed to lead their coupling only to be material and temporal dimension, with their quantum effects and some other fantastic scientific findings to which they are bound. In order to develop into a biologically digitalized species, they are not a danger, but they are no help to us either. Many of them are in the process of being integrated into the club because of their technical and mental control. Then there are other technically advanced extraterrestrials who in turn are more finely tuned in their minds and are connected to their spiritual consciousness. They therefore understand the meaning of the earth, its people, and their way. They know what is happening here on earth. They watch in secret, but keep a low profile and cleverly manipulate the club's plans to render the club defenseless at a suitable moment, but they do not really actively interfere on earth. Okay, so let's summarize. Did you understand what was going on? So he's just saying the AI manipulates the ETs, the elites, the cabal, which manipulates us. And the ETs aren't even sure, and the elites aren't even sure what's going on. And they just get these downloads, like gut instincts. They don't know if it's, they just follow the direction, the programming per se. So they can digitize us all, turn us into transhumans, and the elite, the humans and people, are manipulated through religion and myths that were put by the AI. So it's all propaganda. It's all propaganda through AI, through Yahweh. Yeah, set into motion by demons and angels, and which are one and the same, and aliens and elites and cabal, and through the mindless ones who follow the propaganda and manipulation, and they can't decipher, because they're mob mentality. They go with the flow of things. Monkey see, monkey do. They want to fit in. They're insecure. They don't know who they are. They just followers. They feel comfortable doing what the mob is doing. So they're the ones who keep the system going. They're the one who goes and listens to false religions and false mythologies and the Bible and think it's the truth. And I just think the Bible is a playbook, like the Rockefeller playbook. It's just to tell you, like, the plan, what's gonna go next. They could call it prophecies, but it's just written what's gonna happen. It's just the playbook. Anyhow, interviewer asks, there are positive and negative aliens. Okay, now she just wants to know about the aliens. He's trying to explain what's going on, and she just wants to know about aliens. She wants to know about the puppets of the AI. And then he said there are positive and negative ones. The positives are trying to help to get us out of this mind frame, because they are more connected to their spiritual consciousness, so they know better what's going on. They're not connected to what cosmic agency would call the mainframe computer, the matrix mind. There's the matrix mind, and then there's a source. So they're the sleepers who are connected to the programming, the matrix mind, and then those who are more aware, higher consciousness, who are connected to the source. I know where I stand. Alexander says, very simple. Always react negatively. Don't let anyone else do it. We can't go wrong with that. This reaction is the best because the aliens who are negative towards us are now under time and action pressure and will therefore concoct a complementary plan with the elites of this world who have engaged, bribed, and talked them into this theater play so that today's people will have a positive attitude towards an alien saving invasion, for example. So if ever an alien comes and makes promises for a better world or takes you away or whatever to the mothership, don't go, because then they lie. Why would you trust anybody but yourself, right? Why would you trust them? They're gonna, by you going, you've agreed that you work for them. They're gonna put you to work. They could be nefarious. You just don't know. could be signed and you'll be a slave to them. You gotta do what they say. And then you find yourself in another horrible place, another horrible experience, maybe even far worse, because then you'll be super soldiered out or some crap and killing others, you know, for or experimenting on the human species, or other species on their behalf because you've agreed to go. Anyways, for example, right, that. But no matter what exactly happens at the height of the conflict and the disasters of this planet, a kind of salvation from chaos is staged. This is talking about the fake alien invasion. We all know about that. The government is supposed to put out like the fake aliens invasion. It's all, you know, contrived. We've heard enough about that in the grapevine, right? If your eyes are open and your ears are open. If the club were to choose the form of an invasion, for example, it would perhaps defeat attacking aliens with the help of so-called good aliens afterwards. He didn't put good aliens in quotes, but he should have. Or perhaps it would stage a sham invasion planned by governments. The final scenario, oh, they're saying it could be a sham invasion planned by governments, which is what I was talking about. But he is also saying it could not be it is always a sham. It could be from AI putting it out. You know, it could be aliens that play along with the AI transhumanism. It doesn't necessarily mean it's staged by the government. It could be staged from Yahweh. It could be staged from the artificial AI that we made, that humanity concocted and made. Or by the government. Do not fall for any of them. The final scenario is currently being modified and adapted by the club and nobility again and again. They believe they will win. Yeah, they do, hence they're always trying, right? But we already know the end anyway. What exactly happens in the end, I am not allowed to say. Only you have to be very careful. The really good aliens will not be visible at all. Will not get in contact with humanity at all. Will not. Okay. We will meet them only after all the chaos itself in space on a first journey to outside. They will intervene in this time ahead of us in a completely different way, mainly against the hidden and public elites on the earth, than against the negatively acting extraterrestrials when they want to stage their spectacle on earth. But I am not allowed to say any more about this. Only always keep your doubts about the events. Okay, we're half hour in. Goodbye for now.